Expos here is going to be Carlos Lascano, a .211 hitter with 3 home runs and 10 runs batted in. This is not Sisto Lascano. This is Carlos.
Yeah, Sisto has having a tough year too.
Yes, he has. Sisto's cousin. Vail at second, 2 men out. Crowd ready to roar, and send this club winging on its way to Montreal for the Showdown Series. We'll be there tomorrow night. Sanderson against Ruthven. And oh, that first game's a big one. No balls and a strike. Crowd roaring now on every pitch. What a year it's been for Philadelphia fans, for Montreal fans. And still, the piece de resistance to come. But the Phillies will have to win it on the road, where they have played well here the last month. People standing up, yelling all over. Strike 2, oh! Nothing in 2. Veterans Stadium is a madhouse, which could be the final game of the year here unless they beat Montreal 2 out of 3. Everybody standing up, yelling, roaring, imploring McGraw to get the last big one, and this place will virtually explode if he does. 2 strikes on Lascano. Got him, and the Phillies win it. Look at McGraw. He's gone into his neck. The Phillies win. They are in a dead tie with the Montreal Expos going into a 3-game series tomorrow night. Final score here, Philadelphia 4, Chicago 2. We'll be back in a moment. Well, we're going to wrap this up in a hurry and get you out to Candlestick. Phillies in another game just filled with intestinal fortitude tonight. 4 runs, 8 hits, 2 errors, 4 left on. The Cubs 2 runs, 7 hits, and 2 errors. The winner is Bob Walk, and what an effort he turned in tonight. He's 11-7. Another great relief appearance by Tug McGraw. The loser here is Bill Caudle, following the fine work of young Randy Mertz, and Suter finished up. This is the way it ought to be, Rico. Dead even, may the better team win.
Absolutely. It's going to be an exciting weekend, and have a great game tomorrow night, Jim. And I just want to say thank you for this year. I had a great time and working with a real pro. Thank you, and thanks to the USA Network for having me this year.
Our thanks belong to you for your insight on the game of baseball and your work and companionship here. Have a nice winter.
Thank
you
you.
and the family.
You too.
Tonight's game was brought to you by Budweiser.
Well, hello once again, everybody. This is Monty Moore along with Wes Parker at Candlestick Park in San Francisco, where the Giants are down by a score of 2-0. Darrell Evans is batting, and he hits the ball to the second baseman of the Giants, of the Dodgers tonight, we should say, Darrell Thomas, and they are now 2 down in the 4th inning. The Dodgers got their 2 runs in the 1st inning on a Steve Garvey home run. The pitching matchup tonight is Vida Blue for the Giants. He's won 14 and lost 10. And Dave Golds, a 7-game winner, a 9-game loser for the Dodgers. As I'm sure most of you know who've been watching the USA first game tonight with the Phillies winning over Chicago, Houston has defeated the Atlanta Braves tonight 3-2. That means that Houston and the Dodgers will play tomorrow night. And if the Dodgers hold on and win this game tonight, that means the Dodgers, by sweeping Houston 3 straight, could win the National League Championship. But if they lose 1 game in the next 3, there's no way they can win. So the Dodgers have their backs to the wall. And here we have Terry Whitfield, and it's no balls and 2 strikes on him.
The key game in that series, of course, will be the Friday night game, which is tomorrow night, Monty. And for our viewers that just tuned in, we just want to remind you, tomorrow night is the second game of that doubleheader. We are going to have the Houston Dodger game direct from L.A. live, so be sure and watch that. That'll come right after the game between the Phillies and Montreal, and I really don't think we've ever had a more exciting 2 divisional races since the divisions began in 1969. It's really been something this year.
How could any network have 2 better games or bigger games on the same night back-to-back than the USA Network's going to have tomorrow night? The Phillies and Montreal are in a dead tie.
Right.
They're going to play 2 out of 3 games for the National League East Championship. What could be better than that? And then in the West Championship, the top 2 teams, Houston and the Dodgers, are going to meet head-up in a 3-game series, but Houston definitely has the leg up on it. Whitfield takes inside.
You realize if the Dodgers win tonight that there's no possibility of a playoff in either division, and also that all 4 teams who are contending will have swept their opposition the first part of this week. Now, that's really something, Monty.
Yeah, the situation is this. Whitfield fouls this one off. The Dodgers cannot lose another game and win the National League Championship.
You've got it. They've had to sweep the Giants, or at least they will if they sweep it tonight. That'll be 3 straight, but they will have had to do it. And then they'll have to sweep Houston 3 straight. Now, if the Dodgers lose tonight, they would still have to sweep Houston 3 straight. That would be a tie, and then the Dodgers would have to win the playoff game that next Monday.
And it would be in Los Angeles, by the way. The pitching matchup for tomorrow night on the second game of our USA Network doubleheader, Don Sutton, a 13-game winner and the veteran of the staff of the Dodgers, against Ken Forsch, a 12-game winner, a 12-game loser for Houston. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down. We're in the 4th inning. Dave Goltz, a refugee from the American League, a big money man from the free agent market, signed by the Dodgers.
What did he get, $3 million?
$3 million. I don't know how long it's to last or how long the
I think it's 6 years.
contract is for.
Yeah, 6-year contract. This is the first year.
Mercy.
That's $500,000 a year.
7 wins and 9 losses this year. Here's the pitch. High fly ball into right center field. John Stone is calling, and Jay makes the catch. 3 up, 3 down. Goltz has cut down 7 men in a row now, including a double play in the second inning. So after 4, here's the score. The Dodgers 2 and the Giants nothing. Let's pause for this word. You're watching Thursday night Major League Baseball on the USA Network. And from Candlestick Park here in San Francisco, Thursday night baseball continues as the Dodgers and the Giants play in National League West action.
Tonight's game is brought to you by Light Beer from Miller. Everything you've always wanted in a beer and less.
And here is Jay Johnstone, a left-handed hitter in the lineup anyway, against Vida Blue, a left-handed pitcher. Ordinarily, the Dodgers might make some changes, which would put a right-handed batter in there. But Johnstone has been some player for the Dodgers this year. He's batting .317 for the year with a couple of home runs. Doesn't have too good a swing at that Vida Blue breaking ball. Vida has retired the last 5 batters in a row. And really, they have not had a hit since Garvey's homer in the first inning.
He's retired 11 out of the last 12. The only man to get on has gotten on with a walk, and that's Hatcher.
Pitch is fouled back by Johnstone as Vida got in on his hands a little bit.
What's really hard for a fellow like Johnstone, who normally just faces right-handed pitching, is to come up there in a big game like this against a tough left-handed pitcher like Vida Blue. He's just not used to seeing fellows throw from this side.
Matter of fact, Johnstone tried to talk his way out of the lineup here tonight. He just goes down swinging at a Vida Blue curveball. But Tommy Lasorda said, no, I want you in there. Of course, it's kind of by default.
Jay went up to Tommy Lasorda before the game and said, why don't you start Yeager at catcher and put Ferguson in right? And Tommy said, nope, you're in right, and we're going to put Ferguson behind the plate. That ended that discussion.
This game is brought to you under the authority of Major League Baseball. Any rebroadcast or other use of the pictures, descriptions, accounts of this game without the written consent of Major League Baseball is strictly prohibited. Here's the old pitcher, Dave Goltz. Vida Blue, a 14-game winner for the Giants this year. Year before last, had a big season for the Giants. Throwing better now than he was in the first inning, though he's still up a little higher. I saw him just point down to the ground. He'll tell his catcher once in a while what the catcher will ordinarily tell him. That pitch is outside. When Vida had his super year in 1971, the Cy Young Award winner for the American League, he ran that fastball. He only virtually did it with 1 pitch. He threw very few breaking balls. But Wes, it was almost like having 2 or 3 pitches because he could spot that fastball so many different places. He could go inside, outside. He turned it over just a little bit and got it to run away from the right-handed hitters. It's just an incredible year for a guy.
Did he ever change speeds with it?
Very infrequently.
So he just did it on sheer brute power.
He just blew it by people, that's all. He was a kid and he could do it. Goltz is not exactly getting around on those, is he?
No, he's not. But, you know, I really think Vida's going to have to learn. He's 31 years old now. He's got to learn what Tom Seaver had to go through, where Seaver relied on that good hard fastball and hard slider all those years. Now he's had to learn how to pitch with off-speed pitches, and I think Vida is going to have to do that. He's thrown a few good slow curves and changeups, but I think he's going to have to do that more consistently to be effective.
Bouncing ball right side. Murray watches it, gets it over to Vida covering the bag, and they're 2 down. Well, I think it isn't that Vida doesn't know that. He learned that, I think, in 1972 after the great 71 year when he couldn't throw the ball by people up here all the time. But some guys' wrists are just a little more supple to throw that breaking ball, I think. Wes, some guys, I think, came out of the cradle able to throw a curveball, and others just absolutely cannot throw it. Now, Vida's never been able to consistently get the proper speed on the curveball. I know Wes Stock, one of the best pitching coaches, I think, in the big leagues, worked hours with Vida, and so did Bill Posdell, who's one of the great pitching coaches I ever saw. And that was the big thing, is he never got the speed down. And if you throw a curveball too fast, it's not taking enough off of it, and if you hang it, man, those are gone.
We were talking about that earlier, how occasionally he'll get the in-between speed on both his curveball and his slider. Well, right there, it looks like he tried to throw a breaking ball, and he bounced it about 3 feet in front of the plate.
Here's a young fellow by the name of Perconti, who's been playing a lot of baseball for the Dodgers since coming up. The Dodgers were one of the teams in baseball to bring up just about a full complement of players. I think they ended up with 37 players, bringing some of their minor leaguers up. And don't you know, now they're glad they did.
But you know, they did not do it when they should have. They had a 2-game series in Houston at the beginning of September. The first couple of days, they lost both games, won in extra innings, and they had only brought up, I believe, 2 minor leaguers, and Houston had about 12 on their bench.
And the Dodgers ended up with a pitcher playing right field in that game.
That's it. That's Castillo.
Thomas popped up in the short right field. They got a late break on it, but here comes Clark, and he's got it. 3 up, 3 down. Vida now has retired 8 in a row, and we're in the middle of the ball game. In the middle of the 5th, the score is the Dodgers 2, and the Giants nothing. Let's pause for this message from your local station. We go to the last half of the 5th inning. The Giants, Murray will be the leadoff batter, then Soulars and Sadek. And we would like to, at this time, tell you that there's nothing wrong with your television set, nor with our voices. Our voices are always bad, but they're bad in non-stereo tonight because of technical problems we're having. There are so many, I guess, broadcast lines tied up all around the world tonight with the Ali fight and all the pennant battles. I know there are so many telecasts going out of San Francisco down to Los Angeles tonight. You could never believe it. Even their local newscasters back there are doing live cut-ins from here in San Francisco tonight in the newscast. And they had a live radio talk show from San Francisco back to Los Angeles tonight. So there's so many lines out of here that we're stuck with one that sounds as if we may have a nose pin on our nose or a clothespin on our nose or something. But we apologize. What we're trying to say is we'll sound better tomorrow night. So tune us in for that game from Dodger Stadium. Here's Murray. And he takes inside, ball 1.
You've raised a real point, Monty, and that is that down in Los Angeles, this is a major, major event. The whole city is going to get outstanding ratings, or at least the channel that's broadcasting this game is going to, because when the Dodgers are in a pennant race and it comes down to this part of the season, you just can't believe how many people tune their TVs into these ball games.
Well, Wes, it's that way, I think, just about. It is big, and it's Hollywood out there in Los Angeles, but in Kansas City last year during the playoffs, they had something like 80% of the television sets on. We're watching the Royals.
Is that right?
And it's just baseball mania. Think what it must be in Montreal and Philadelphia tomorrow night.
Yeah, you're right about that.
You know, this is the great season. I'm telling you, there's nothing like the last week of a Major League season with some great pennant races. There's nothing like it in any sport because it goes on every night. Murray bounces one up the middle. He gets it through there. Base hit. That's the 3rd hit for the Giants, and they've been as scattered as hen's teeth tonight. They've all been singles. And here's Guy Soulars, a rookie who came up from Phoenix Giants Farm Club and has done well in the field in particular. Batting only .222 in 21 games.
This used to be such a great series, Monty, the Dodgers and the Giants, but in recent years, the Giants just have not had good ball clubs. And it really shows in the stats. The Dodgers have won 12 out of 17 this year. They've won 6 out of 8 here in Candlestick, and they've won 30 out of 44 games in the last 4 years against the Giants. So it's become very one-sided.
Yeah, it really kind of cuts down on the on what you could call a real Donnybrook of a series anymore. Soulars kind of fighting off a curveball, fouled it away.
What really killed the Giants was the first game here on Tuesday night. San Francisco played outstanding baseball, went into the top of the 9th inning with a 3-1 lead, and just looked invincible. The Dodgers had made 4 errors in the game to contribute to the Giants' run. And then San Francisco, with just a little bit shoddy defense, allowed the Dodgers to tie it with a couple of runs, and then Pedro Guerrero had a 3-run homer in the 10th, and the Dodgers pulled out a game 6-3 that they really should have lost. And had they lost it, it's very possible that the Giants would have swept this series.
Yeah, it was kind of hard to imagine the Dodgers came into this series knowing they really needed wins, and we've not mentioned it before, but we'll make mention of it now. In the last 2 nights, the Dodgers have made a total of 9 errors in 2 ball games, yet won them both. Now, that's not really playing sharp pennant baseball.
They haven't. They have not really played well. Of course, that's somewhat understandable with all the substitutions they have due to injuries. They did change one of those errors to a hit. I heard that just before the game, so they only had 4 last night and 4 the night before that, but that's still 8 instead of 9.
Dave Bristol is yelling at the first base umpire right now, claiming balk, and he's working his way out there. Bristol's asking for time. He's going to go out and have a word here with Jerry Dale. Dale knows he's coming, but now he acknowledges by looking. There comes Dave. He's claiming balk on Goltz.
It's been a tough year for him, Monty, for Dave Bristol. He took over last year when Joe Altobelli was fired toward the end of the season. He had high hopes for this season. The club had a great spring training. In fact, they led all of the major leagues in spring training with a 14-7 record, and everyone was very excited about starting the year and turning everything around, and it's just been a disaster. In fact, 3 days ago, Jack Clark, the right fielder for the Giants, ripped Bristol, saying that he was a poor manager all over the papers here, and boy, that was a surprise to hear Jack say that.
Did you notice how calmly they started off talking and it just escalated there? Now Bristol getting one last parting shot. He's a little Benny Rooster, I'll say that.
He's a tough little guy. He's been around. He managed for the Reds in Atlanta.
Well, he had one player this year who challenged him and shouldn't have probably. That was John Montefusco, because Bristol decked him in his locker room one night. Lars fouls it away. It's 2-0. The Dodgers are leading the Giants.
Monty, I still remember a conversation I had with Tommy Lasorda last year in Chicago. After a game, we were sitting down just chatting, and he looked me right in the eye, and he said, Wes, it's not easy to manage in the major leagues today.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate that.
She's outside. Dodgers lead 2-0, so I would think that maybe Goltz is putting a little too much emphasis on holding Murray close at first base. Dodgers saw the Giants have a perfect opportunity to run in the second inning, and they didn't. But Goltz is quite convinced maybe that Murray is going to run here. Giants end their season against San Diego this weekend. Little blooper, short left field, base hit. Baker was trying to decoy the runner into not making it to second base, and he almost did. Dusty knew he was not going to catch that ball, but he was making as if he were, hoping that he could force the runner Murray at second. So Lars is on with a hit. There are the tying runners on, nobody down, and here's the catcher, Mike Sadek, batting .259. He's been hurt a lot this year, played in only 62 games.
The situation might normally call for a bunt, but with Vida Blue coming up next, I really don't think they will, Monty. Blue is not a good hitter. He's hitting .075 for the season, and he struck out his only time up tonight.
Strike. Sadek squared around.
There's nobody warming up in the bullpen, so if they do bunt the runners over, Blue's going to hit.
Or bunt.
Well,
he's bunt for one run, give up, or what?
For a squeeze, possibly. Or maybe they're just going to put it all on the leadoff hitter, Max Venable.
They moving him up. Carvey looked at third, has no play. He goes to Thomas covering. Sadek bunts, 2 runners up.
Good scouting report right there. That bunt normally goes down to third. But here they bunt to Garvey, who's actually free. He's got nobody to hold on, and he could have thrown to third, but Garvey does not have confidence in his throwing arm.
You might have joined us late. The Philadelphia Phillies hung in there and beat the Chicago Cubs 4-2 with 2 runs in the last half of the 8th inning. Walk was the winner over Caudill. McGraw got another save tonight. 1 ball, no strikes to Vida Blue. And you can see that Philadelphia game again right after hours, in case you missed any of it. Vida takes a strike, 1-1. And remember, tomorrow night, Thursday night baseball is going to surprise you. We'll be there on Friday night with a big double dipper. The National League Championship evening, maybe. Outside, Goltz let that one get away from him. Starting at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. It'll be Philadelphia and Montreal. Those Phillies have had to come from a long ways back, really. Montreal's sort of been up there all year, but they've had some downers, too. Vida hits in the air to right field. That ought to get a run home. Johnstone is going to throw where? He's going to throw towards third. It didn't get there. A run scores, and another man goes to third base. RBI for Vida Blue. That is his first one of the season.
That's his first RBI?
First one.
I tell you, too, he just missed hitting a home run. He got a lot of wood on that ball. Just got a little bit under it. But he hit it deep enough to score two runners, or score one runner and get the other to tag.
It might have sounded to you at home by listening to the crowd mic as if they were booing here, but they were saying blue.
I tell you, he had a cut. He was guessing fastball and got it. He just missed hitting that ball out.
I saw him hit one out at White Sox Park in Chicago one night, and he hit it pretty well. Here's Max Venable. Dodger infield back except for Hatcher at third. Strike in there. It's 2-1. The Dodgers are leading the Giants. Dodgers almost have to keep winning. They're trailing by 2. If they lose, it'll be by 3 with 3 to go.
The interesting thing about that is that regardless of whether the Dodgers win or lose tonight, they still have to sweep.
They've got to sweep to stay in it. It'll just be a difference of sweeping for the championship or sweeping for the tie.
Right.
Goltz is working off the stretch here, even with a runner at third and 2 down. And his curveball, I tell you, he's hanging that curveball, Wes. If I'm a hitter now for the Giants, seeing what I've seen of his breaking ball the last 2 or 3 innings, I just have to sit on that fastball because his curveball is hanging outside of the left-hand hitters.
Not getting it over. He's got a knuckle curveball, much like Bert Hooton, but he does have trouble controlling it. He tries to keep it down and get a lot of ground balls.
There's a strike. Boy, that Schmidt had his 46th home run of the year tonight for the Phillies. The tops in the big leagues.
That is also his all-time career high, 46.
The American League Home Run Derby is an interesting one with Ogilvy and Jackson, and who else is it on that Milwaukee Ball Club? Gorman Thomas. All right at 39. Venable fouls it away. The New York Yankees won tonight 3-2. Guidry won his 17th game of the year, beating the ace of the Tiger staff, Morris. And Goose Gossage got his 30th save of the year. So the Yankees are there.
Now that puts Baltimore in a tough spot. I think the Yankees have to lose their last 3 now for a tie.
Oh, what a curveball. He finally got it over, and he got Venable and got him big right there. Goltz gets his 3rd strikeout of the night. The Giants get a run on 2 hits and a man left. After 5 innings, the score is 2-1. Let's pause for this word. You're watching Thursday night Major League Baseball. I suppose it would be apropos that we would have as the first guest on the USA Network Sports Pro program tomorrow night a baseball commissioner, and his name is Bowie Kuhn. He'll be on there tomorrow night. Wes Parker tried to institute something with this commissioner earlier this year on one of our Thursday night sports quizzes. We're ready for top half of the 6th inning now. The line score like this: the Dodgers 2 runs, 2 hits. The Giants 1 run, 4 hits. It's Vida Blue against Dave Goltz in a pitcher's battle right now. Houston has already won tonight. The Dodgers just have to keep winning and hope. And now here for the play-by-play, our broadcast partner, Wes Parker.
Thank you very much, Monty Moore. We just got word from someone that walked in the booth that in the fight tonight, Muhammad Ali, apparently, according to viewers here, has not won a round. They've gone 5 rounds, and it looks like Larry Holmes has won all of the first 5. So if that's true, Muhammad Ali is going to have a knockout. 9 rounds. It's gone 9 rounds, and it looks like Ali has not won a round yet. That's what they're saying. 9 rounds, and Ali does not look good, so we'll see what happens. This is Pepe Frias, the shortstop, rounding out the second. Frias is playing, of course, for Billy Russell, who had a finger broken when a pitch in Cincinnati hit his finger up against the bat and fractured it. He is out for the season. Billy Russell lost for the playoffs and the World Series and the rest of this year.
Russell's been a much maligned Dodger player over the years, but Tommy Lasorda brought up a point down there tonight. Said a lot of people don't realize it, but Russell went through one streak this year of 56 straight games without making an error. Now, that's steady shortstopping, and you miss that kind of play.
There are a lot of good shortstops in the National League. It's awfully hard to say who's the best, but you've got to think of Concepcion, Boa, and the fellow down in San Diego, the Wizard, Ozzie Smith. Here's Dusty Baker. He's 1 for 2, singled, ahead of Garvey's home run back in the first inning. And then he grounded out into a force play, short to second. The Dodgers have not had a hit since the first inning when Garvey hit a home run. They've only got 2 for the night, Baker and Garvey. So Vida Blue has really kind of settled down since that first inning. There have been a lot of outstanding pitchers that, if they can get through the first inning, really get tough. Blue would be one. Bob Gibson was that way. Sandy Koufax was that way. Boy, he threw that one good. Good fastball. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Dusty. 1 down. We're in the top of the 6th. The Dodgers lead 2-1. The Dodgers have won the first 2 games in this series, 6-3 in 10 innings, and then yesterday they blew the Giants away 8-4. So we've seen some just outstanding clutch baseball by all 4 teams in the National League pennant race. Well, we just got word that Larry Holmes has won on a technical knockout over Muhammad Ali in the 9th round.
First time Ali's ever been knocked out?
That is the first time. Well, what is he now, 38 years old? He hasn't fought for 2 years. Trying to make a comeback at that age, apparently it's just too difficult to do. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Dusty Baker, nobody on, and there's 1 away for the Dodgers in the top of the 6th. The Dodgers lead 2-1, and Baker loops one into center, and that'll fall for a base hit ahead of Venable. Dusty now 2 for 3. Dusty's just under 300, came into this game hitting 297, so with the 2 for 3, he's probably about 299. Now here's Garvey. Garvey started the night at 304. He homered and then popped out into foul territory to the first baseman, Rich Murray. Apparently what happened in that fight, Muhammad Ali did not answer the bell for the 10th round.
He just decided to go to the bank.
Well, I'll tell you, that's fine, but from what I hear, he's got so many people in that retinue of his, he's going to have to cut down on the staff, for that money's going to go fast. Pitch out. Baker staying at first.
Anybody who makes $8 million in one night's got one guy on their staff called Sam that's going to get a good portion of it.
I know what you mean. One of the things that's hurt the Giants this year, they've made 153 errors going into tonight's game. Baker on the move, and he's trapped. The throw hits Baker in the back, and now he's going to get up and go to second, and there'll be no play. That's one of the most basic things an infielder has to learn in a rundown is to throw that ball around or over the runner's head.
Well, Patini was running, Wes, right in the base path, right with. Now look at Patini. He's got it, and he's running right even. If he just steps inside or outside either one, he makes an easy throw. You see, the first baseman was on the inside, so if Patini, I would imagine, should have stepped on the inside. He had his choice. Instead, he hits the runner right in the back.
Well, Patini just got brought up in September, so he's learning the hard way. Under fire in a pennant race. Now, they might be thinking of walking Garvey intentionally. Let's see. Sadek is standing up.
Yeah,
and it sure looks like it. Can't argue with that play, although Pedro Guerrero, coming up next, has been on fire. A real hot hitter. Garvey's trying to get 200 hits again. He's leading the National League in base hits with 1 tonight. He's up to, I believe, 195.
195 is right.
So So he'll have 3 games plus this one to get 5 more hits to reach 200. And now here's Pedro Guerrero. Guerrero starting in center field. He's coming off an injury which he suffered in mid-August. Actually, Guerrero did not come up with the club until July and August in that period, and he had won the center field job from Rudy Law. The yell you hear is for the announcement of the fight. Now, we've got a different report on the scoreboard than we gave you. You read it right there. We told you Ali did not answer the bell in the 10th. Well, now the scoreboard says that in the 11th round, Ali was knocked out by Larry Holmes. So we'll try and find out which is the correct version. Dodgers with 2 on, 1 out, top of the 6th, and the Dodgers have the lead 2-1 against Vida Blue.
Well, we gave the newspaper people down the way the story, and they relayed it. Now, this gives you an idea of how stories get wrong. That's a wrong report on the board. We gave them the right one, and they just messed it up.
This could be 2. Evans down to second, low throw, and that cost the double play. So it's a force out at second. The ball was not hit real hard, and Evans' throw was a little bit low, a tough one for Soulard to handle down there. It's the second out of the inning, and Joe Ferguson is the hitter, and that'll bring out Davey Bristol from the dugout again.
Giants have a pitcher throwing in their bullpen right now, but I don't think they're serious about getting anybody really loose and ready to throw. That's Greg Minton, who's been the ace of their bullpen staff out there. I'll tell you one thing. That Giant manager, Bristol, will play this game as if he were in the pennant race, because he, along with all managers, get a special kick out of being able to be a factor in a pennant race, whether their team is or not.
You bet. Did you hear what he said? He was interviewed by the Dodger radio announcers before the game yesterday, and he said he would give 10 years of his life to knock the Dodgers out of this pennant race. Now, that's going a little overboard, I would say. Vida Blue to Joe Ferguson, and there's a ground ball down to short. And they go to second to get the force. So the Dodgers are turned away. Vida Blue has really settled down since the first inning. They leave a couple. And at the end of 5.5 now, the score is Dodgers 2, Giants 1. Let's pause for this message from your local station. Ball game, Thursday night baseball from Candlestick Park in San Francisco. The Dodgers are leading 2-1 in the bottom of the 6th, and we were just talking about the pennant races. You know, Monty, another, I think, just sensational thing about these 2 races we're having in the National League is that the 4 contending teams are all playing each other the last 3 games of the season. And when is the last time you've seen something like that happen? Take Baltimore, for instance. If they were playing the Yankees, it'd be a lot better for them, but they have to rely on somebody else to beat New York.
Yeah, it's just really great the way the National League ended up.
Well, it's like a movie script. It's going to be very, very exciting seeing what's going to happen these next 3 days. This is Joe Patini leading off for San Francisco. He's 0 for 2, grounded out to short and third. One of the youngsters that the Giants have brought up.
Wes, I guess the last time in the major leagues that we had anything close to this was when the Yankees and the Red Sox, a few years back, had to play each other in that playoff game, and Bucky Dent hits the home run that beat the Red Sox at Fenway Park. Keep them out of the World Series in a 1-game playoff.
Well, that was an exciting ball game. I remember that one. Patini is the fellow that the Giants felt made Bill Madlock expendable. Madlock was playing second for San Francisco about the middle of last year, and he was finally traded over to the Pittsburgh Pirates for Ed Whitson. The Giants felt they needed pitching help and got it. Whitson's done an outstanding job for San Francisco, as Madlock has for the Pirates. But it sure opened up a spot for Patini. He hasn't played as much as you would expect. He's only been in 59 games this year. Looks at a curve for a call, third strike. So Goltz, when he gets that curve over, is really fooling the hitters.
Goltz was on a staff at Minnesota with Bert Blyleven, who at the time I felt had the best curveball in the American League, and he used to learn a lot from Blyleven, and On some occasions, his curveball would be just about as good, but it's never been as consistent.
Well, when you talk about Burton's fly 11, you're talking about one of the best. I was talking about the giant errors as Jack Clark comes up. Clark is 0 for 1. He's walked, bounced out to third. But the Giants have been a notoriously bad defensive ball club all through, well, the 20 years or so that they've been here on the West Coast at least. They've made 153 this year. The Dodgers have made 120, so that's a swing of 33 errors. And where the Giants have really been weak is on the left side of the infield. Darrell Evans and LeMaster over there have made 26 errors each. That's 52 just on the left side of the infield, and you've got to be strong on that side, especially. Clark rounds one up the middle and just past Frias. So Jack Clark has his first hit of the night. That's the 5th off Dave Galt. And that'll bring up Darrell Evans.
Frias just came to the Dodgers at a good time, Wes. They picked him up from the Texas Rangers where he wasn't playing much, and of course they lost Bill Russell, and they had to go around looking. And it appears almost every year, about that time of year, those little infielders like Frias, used to be Dow Maxville, and those guys always find a job somewhere on a ball club, those utility infielders, the last month or so of the season.
Also, Buddy Harrelson. I think Buddy Harrelson came out of retirement.
That's right. He was out.
Well, the Dodgers have a Darrell Evans shift on. They've got their infielders shifted over toward right, expecting Evans to pull. They tried that back in the first inning, and Evans singled between short and third, although Frias stopped the ball and made an incredible throw to first and almost got him.
Darrell's had a pretty good year. He's driven in 71 runs. He's had 19 home runs.
Where he's really improved is in his stolen bases. He's got 16 stolen bases this year. That's second on the club to
Billy North.
Billy North, who has 45. There's a bouncer down to Frias. He'll go to second for 1. They'll try for 2, and they'll get it. Evans does not run fast, and he hits into a double play. And he doesn't know whether to throw that helmet down on the ground or just exactly what to do with it. But the Giants are turned away here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. They waste a hit, and they leave nobody. So after 6 complete now, it's Dodgers 2, Giants 1. And we're going to pause now for this word to remind you that you are watching Thursday night Major League Baseball. For the fans.
One of sports' greatest dressers.
Well, we go to the top half of the 7th inning. The Dodgers leading it 2-1. Vida Blue, the pitcher, a little nubber down to first base line, and a play by Sadek to get him. Boy, that's a good hustle play by Mike Sadek, the catcher.
Man, it took a little time to thank him, too. That's a tough play. Look at, that's just good communication right there. And to throw it underhanded and throw it to the inside of the bag when he wasn't in that much of a throwing position was quite a play.
Best part of that play was Vida Blue staying out of the way. So Mickey Hatcher is retired on a super play by the catcher, Mike Sadek. And Jay Johnstone will be the hitter. Johnstone's 0 for 2. He's been a hot hitter, but he hasn't faced too many left-handed pitchers this year. And that's been the problem tonight. Johnstone has really worked hard at his hitting and did not really become a good hitter until his years with Philadelphia, starting about 4 or 5 years ago when he made the Phillies ball club. He became a real student of hitting, worked with Jimmy Lefebvre's father, who apparently is quite a hitting coach, and it certainly has helped Jay. But he's 0 for 2 tonight against Vida. Popped out to third, foul territory, and struck out. Fastball in the outside corner.
Wes Jay
One ball, 2 strikes.
is one of many Dodgers who have come on with some heroics this year to help out off the bench. Rick Mundy's another. He carried the Dodgers for about a week by himself.
It's been amazing almost, Monty, when you think about it, how deep the Dodger bench has been.
And right there in that bullpen, there's a 19-year-old kid. He's sort of in the middle there with his legs crossed from Mexico, who has been in 7 games for the Dodgers since being brought up from Albuquerque. and he has been unreal. He hasn't allowed a run. His name is Fernando
Valenzuela. And Johnstone takes a called third strike. That's the second time he's struck out. Vida Blue has really found himself since that first inning. And there's 2 down for the Dodgers, and that'll bring up Dave Goltz. Ron Cey, the Dodgers' third baseman, had pulled a hamstring in the first game of the series. He is out. Davey Lopes has a pinched nerve in his neck. He has not played at all in this series. Reggie Smith is out for the season. He's already had surgery on his shoulder. Bill Russell, the starting shortstop, is out for the season with a broken finger. They've really had their problems. Yeager and Ferguson have had their injuries. Garvey's played every game at first, and Baker's played almost every game in left, and that's been about it. Out in center field, Rudy Law, who started the season as a rookie, cooled off, and they tried Rick Mundy out there. Mundy pulled a hamstring, so now Pedro Guerrero's the center fielder. You could see that shot of Vida Blue socks. As many players will, they'll cut those stirrups at the bottom and add material to them so they can pull the socks up higher, and you can't even see the black part. Looks like a couple of paint stripes going right up the side of the white stockings.
I've never understood really what benefit there is of not showing that black. Is it just something of...
It's cool. Don't you know that? You didn't know that, huh? That's cool.
Cool weather-wise or cool?
Huh?
Cool. Is that modern cool or cool weather-wise?
Modern cool.
Cool man, right? Hey, speaking of cool, this is the hottest day in the history of San Francisco today, weather-wise, on this date. 97 degrees today here.
You know, the Cincinnati Reds and the Chicago Cubs are owned by people that do not want their players to do that, hence they have those low-cut stirrups. But it almost looks old-fashioned when you compare it to something like Vida Blue.
Yeah, the White Sox, no way you can do stirrups with theirs. They don't have them.
The White Sox or the Cubs?
White Sox don't let them have stirrups because they got those ugly old long socks that have the two-tone color on the stockings, on the sanitary.
They have no choice. Oh, Vida getting a little wild now. The count goes to 3-2. 2 down. We're in the top half of the 7th inning. Dodgers with nobody on, and the Dodgers have the lead 2-1. Houston has already won tonight. They won 3-2. Niekro was the winning pitcher. He beat McWilliams for Atlanta. Atlanta came up with a run in the 9th, but that was one too few. And Goltz takes ball 4.
Third walk Vida's given up. Vida is one of the fastest workers in baseball, Wes. He doesn't monkey around out there very often or walk off the rubber very often. And he's pitched a lot of ball games this year at Candlestick Park and for the Giants around the league in around 2 hours and under.
Well, we played about an hour and 50 minutes. We're in the top half of the 7th inning, so that's a pretty good pace.
Goltz, on the other hand, has dragged it down a lot. He is one of the slowest workers in baseball.
Here's Darryl Thomas, leadoff hitter for the Dodgers. He chops one right back to Blue. He's going to throw to first and get the out. So the Dodgers leave one here in the top half of the 7th on no hits. And at the end of 6.5, it is still the Dodgers 2, the Giants 1. Let's pause now for this message from your local station.
There is something that was uncovered here just last Sunday. Willie McCovey, they retired his number. There's a look at the numbers they've retired here at Giantville. Marichal 27, Willie Mays 24, Carl Hubble 11, and Mel Ott number 4.
Well, welcome back. I'm Wes Parker along with Monty Moore. We're going to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Dave Goltz working for the Dodgers. He's trying to protect a 1-run lead. The Dodgers with 2 runs on 3 hits, and the Giants with 1 run on 5 hits. The Giants have made a couple of errors. The Dodgers have made none. Goltz considered really to be the 5th starter in the Dodger rotation, but he's done quite a job. Of course, when that series starts tomorrow in L.A. against the Astros, Goltz will not be working. It's going to be Sutton Friday night, then probably Jerry Royce on Saturday night as Bob Welch, one of the Dodger starters, is out. As you look at the numbers of some of the retired Giants, 5 of them out there along the right field fence.
They just unveiled those last Sunday, Wes, in a very impressive ceremony here at Candlestick Park. I happened to have been here. for that Willie McCovey day, they retired Willie's number 44. Of course, Mays has been retired for some time, and so had Marischal's. But it was a very emotional thing here.
I can believe that. Terry Whitfield is the hitter for the Giants. To continue with that preceding thought, it'll be Bert Hooten pitching Sunday for the Dodgers, should it go that far. 1 ball, 1 strike to Whitfield. Terry originally signed by the Giants, high school All-American, Yankees #1 draft choice. I said the Giants, I meant the Yankees, in 1971. And he grounds one up the middle that Darryl Thomas will pick off, and he throws him out. So the Giants having a hard time getting anything mounted against Dodger pitching.
Hey, the Giants have had a hard time getting anything mounted offensively lately against anybody. That same Sunday I talked about a minute ago, I was here, and the Giants were almost no-hit by Vern Rule of Houston, who had a no-hitter going into the 8th inning. And they managed to trickle one Jimmy Wolford as a pinch hitter through the left side of the infield with 2 down.
Well, just in the month of September, to prove your point, the Giants have played 27 games and lost 20. So they've only won 7. That's not very many. This is Rich Murray, and if you remember, or if you kept up to date with the papers, when Willie McCovey announced his retirement, he said part of the reason was this fellow right here. Said an outstanding-looking ball player and a superstar of the future. Those were Willie McCovey's words. And he wanted to make room for this youngster, give him a chance to play.
Goltz has really come back with his curveball, West. The last couple innings, he has really had it down where he wanted it, in the strike zone and low.
Murray hitting .221, so he's having a hard time. He's only 23 years old, though, his first year in the major league, so he's got to find himself. Goltz comes from the side and gets him with a curveball.
We're in 3 straight breaking balls, and Murray missed each one of them farther than the last. That's called finding a good horse and riding it.
Here's Guy Soulars, youngster that the Giants had just recently brought up. He's got a couple of hits tonight, 2 of the 5 Giant hits, singled in the 2nd, singled in the 5th. There's a line drive to center field, and Guerrero makes the catch. So Soulars hit it good, but can't get the hit, and the Giants go 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 7th. And it's still Dodgers 2, Giants 1 at the end of 7 complete. Let's pause now for this word to remind you that you are watching Thursday Night Major League Baseball.
This
Preceding was brought to you on behalf of Major League Baseball.
Top of the 8th, Dodgers leading 2-1. We just want to remind you once again, tomorrow night starting at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, or 8 o'clock Eastern Time, you will see the Philadelphia Phillies against the Montreal Expos, and immediately following that game, it'll be the Dodgers against the Astros, and here's Monty Moore.
All right, Wes, here we go. Fine job as usual, buddy, and it's Pepe Frias. A late substitution in the Dodger lineup tonight. He's 0 for 3. Fouled it off. Vida Blue has pitched well this evening. He's walked 3, struck out 5, has allowed only 3 hits. Unfortunately for him, one of them was a 2-run dinger off the bat of Steve Garvey in the 1st inning. Vida misses low with a breaking ball. Dodgers lead the Giants 2-1. Dodgers are 13 wins and only 4 losses against the Giants this year. They've beaten the Giants 6 out of 8 right here at Candlestick. There's a drive to right center field. They're playing so shallow that one might go through. It does. Frias is on his way to second, and he's going to hold on right there. Boy, they were playing Frias so shallow out there that Jack Clark and Venable didn't either one really have a chance, and they're just lucky the grass is high.
He splits the gap. Actually, both fielders were almost there, but it was just hit exactly in between them. They're smart to play him shallow. I would too, Monty. I don't think that was the fault, but that ball was right in between the outfielders.
When a little guy like that muscles up and hits a line drive in between those shallow playing outfielders, it really is exactly the one thing that they don't want to happen, but it'll happen once in a while. They'll cut off a lot of them, though. Good play by Venable backing Clark up because they had to make up their mind in a hurry who was going to go for it and who wasn't. Here's Dusty Baker. He's 2 for 3 tonight and takes inside. Be interesting to see if he gives himself up and goes to the right side here, or if he tries to swing away and hit it out.
Just thinking that. It'll be real interesting to see if he tries to sacrifice himself.
There's a strike to him from Vida.
Vida, of course, knows that Baker may be trying to hit the ball to the right side to advance that runner, so he came right in on him just to make it that much harder.
Rios down off second base. Vida gives him a quick look. Comes inside to Baker. Boy, a very unusual sight here at Candlestick Park. The flags in center field are hanging as still as can be, and there's Greg Minton out in the bullpen for the Giants. Boy, very rarely do you come into this place where you can sit with a short sleeve shirt on at night at Candlestick Park. He gave himself up all right, and he moved the man up. And they just got him. Boy, Dusty was digging down that line. He's playing great. He very well could be the MVP. But he comes up limping as he crossed the bag at first. Now, that will not be listed as a sacrifice, but it is just exactly that.
All right, Bristol's coming out again. And you can imagine what this is about, whether to walk Garvey or not. I would suspect that they would. In fact, I would be surprised if they don't walk him.
Tell you what, I bet he's going to bring Minton in right here.
Well, he may do that, but even if he does, I think that he would have Minton walk Garvey.
They're going to take Vida out of here, and I'll tell you what, Bristol will be booed. Vida is scheduled to bat second in the next inning, and he'd go out for a pinch hitter anyway in that inning. Minton has really been outstanding for the Giants this year. He's been the best they've had, though his record doesn't show it in the won-loss column. He's won 3 and lost 6. His earned run average is pretty reflective of the job, 2.53. He has 18 saves, which is twice as many as any other Giant. Now, Vida's getting a fine round of applause. Many fans are standing and cheering Vida as he comes off. And when the manager, Bristol, comes off, I doubt there's very many are going to be standing and cheering him. Now, Dave has done an outstanding job here. As Wes was talking a little while ago, he's had some criticism from members of the press and from his own team, which really hurts me to see. I've always respected Dave as a good baseball man. I knew him back when he was managing in the minor leagues. Now here he comes off.
Well, some of the boos that you heard when Vida Blue was walking off were for the decision of taking him out, not for Vida Blue himself. He got a standing ovation, as Monty mentioned. And he certainly didn't look like he was losing his stuff, Monty.
Goodness, no, I think he's been as good as he has been.
Now, up after Garvey is Pedro Guerrero, and Guerrero's had a bad knee. He hurt his knee in mid-August. Tore it up in Montreal sliding into second base. Did not need surgery, so he was out for about a month, but rehabilitated. When he came back into the lineup about a week ago as a pinch hitter initially, he got 6 hits in his first 6 at-bats, so he was really a hot hitter. Now, tonight, he's cooled off somewhat. He has struck out, flying out to right, and hit into a force play. So he's 0 for 3 tonight. Garvey, as we mentioned, has hit a home run and popped out and been walked intentionally. I tell you, if I was the manager, I would walk Garvey. And I would try for the double play with Guerrero.
Well, seeing this move, I would have to guess that Dave brought him in to pitch to Garvey. Garvey had a homer off Vida tonight, popped up and walked against him in the other times. Now the Giants bring their infield in. And they start Holland, the left-hander, throwing in their bullpen. So from here on in, there'll be a lot of jockeying going on. Dodgers leading 2-1. Down low, ball 1. Okay, this guy's tough to strike out. Garvey just does not go down on strikes all that much. Struck out only 27 times all year.
I think that's Guerrero. I think Garvey's gone down 65 times.
Little roller on the infield. Evans gets him. Boy, and holds the runner.
Yeah, Garvey struck out 65 times. They get him here. That's a big out, Monty.
And the way they got it is really big to keep the ball on the ground. Minton's got that good sinker. And Bristol thinks he's one of the best.
But you know, it was Minton who was pitching, who started the top of the 9th inning when the Giants had that 3-1 lead in Tuesday night's ball game, and he couldn't stop him. He could not hold him.
He's coming back from an injury. He's been out of action except just back in during this series. Frias down the line at third. Minton's going to hold him close by pitching off the stretch. Carrera has a good swing and fouls it off. I'll tell you, this guy comes out of the dugout swinging the bat. He just does not stand up there and look at anything.
Looks like he grew up in the Pittsburgh Pirates organization.
He definitely swings. Holland and Lavelle are the two left-handers in the Giant bullpen. Infield is backed up now. Dodgers have a 2-1 lead in the 8th inning against the Giants, knowing Houston has already won. Good pitch, strike call.
If they've got a charter, they're getting reports on this game, too.
You know it. He got him in a good sinker, and that's Minton's best pitch.
What a job.
Now, that's the reason Dave Bristol brought him in. He's seen him do that so many times this year, and he knew he couldn't give up any more runs. So the Dodgers do not score. They had a hit. A man was left on in the middle of the 8th inning. The score 2-1. The Dodgers lead. Let's pause for this message from your local station.
Well, we want to remind you that more collegiate football action will be coming your way this Sunday with a terrific doubleheader at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. The Fighting Irish of Notre Dame will play Midwest rival Michigan State under new coach Muddy Waters. And then right after that at 7:30 Eastern Time, it's USC, the national power, and they will clash with Arizona State in a battle of Pac-10 clubs. All heading your way this Sunday right here on most of these cable systems.
Here's Billy North, the pinch hitter now for Mike Sadek. North, the switch hitter. Joe Strain will come on to pinch hit for Minton as the Giants trying to get back in it here. North was the regular center fielder for the Giants last year and has been a lot of this year, but he's been not playing a whole lot lately. He golfs that one. They're playing him right there, though, and Dusty Baker picks it off at the line. Billy North went down around his shoe tops to golf that ball with an inside-out swing. So he is out number 1. Well, it was going to be Joe Strain, but since North did not get on, we're going to have somebody else. It's going to be Milt May pinch hitting here. May is going to pinch hit, so they're looking for someone with distance right here. May's been the regular catcher for the Giants most of this year, and he's had a pretty good year with the bat. 257, 6 homers, 49 runs batted in. They need an extra base blow right now. Remember, tomorrow night, it'll be Don Sutton, the Dodger ace, against Ken Forsch of the Houston Astros. And I don't know who you could say is the ace of that Astros staff. They've got so many good-looking pitchers over there. Tonight, Niekro won his 19th game for Houston. Nolan Ryan will pitch on Saturday afternoon, and Nolan's won only 11 games. 2 of the big free agent pitchers that went places this year. Goltz for the Dodgers won only 7 games and lost 9. Ryan has won 11 and lost 9 for Houston.
But he's pitched very well.
He's done well, yeah. They just haven't been a high-scoring team. Here's May taking a strike.
In a lot of games that Ryan started and then was lifted out of where he got no decision, the team went on to win. He's really done a fine job, Monty. And, of course, you can't talk about their staff without Vern Rule, who took over for James Rodney Richard. What a job he's done.
Boy, I'll say he's 12 and 4. Yeah, Ryan has done a lot for that staff besides win ball games. He has allowed some of the other pitchers to get extra days rest by pitching a lot of innings. 2-1 here, Dodgers lead. May hits it right up the middle, in there for a base hit. Thomas gave it a good try, but Milt May is on. They may run for May here, even though they're going to need another catcher. And it's back to the top of the batting order for Max Venable, who is 0 for 3 tonight against Dave Goltz. And the Dodgers send people to work out on their bullpen. Bobo Castillo is a right-hander, and Howe the left-hander.
Steve Howe.
Well, let's see if the Giants go for the bunt right here. Low, the third baseman of the Dodgers, Mickey Hatcher, is playing very shallow on Venable and right near the line. He's really giving up a lot of ground to his left. I mean, a lot of ground. Berkani goes down into the bullpen area. He's second baseman. He'll come in and play defense probably in the next inning. Venable cracks one through. Knocked down by Thomas. Well, it's a base hit. But he may, by stopping that, have kept May from going to third base. I don't know if May would have gone or not. But the Giants now have the tying runner on at second, the go-ahead run at first, and pinch hitter Jimmy Wolford coming up for Joe Patini.
Boy, Thomas made a nice play. It's a good point you make, Monty, that if he had not flagged it down, the Giants might have had the tying run at third.
It wasn't hit hard enough to have gotten out to Johnstone, and I kind of figured that May would have gone had that ball gone through. Well, here is one of the finest utility players around. Wolford batting .277. He broke up a no-hitter here last Sunday. In the 8th inning with 2 outs. I say last Sunday, a week ago Sunday. I don't know. I've been to so many ballparks lately. It might have been last Sunday. I forget where. And we'll be in another one tomorrow night. The Dodgers in Houston right here on the same network. Wolford. After the curveball, he misses it. Boy, Wes, here's a time where the Dodgers are giving up an opportunity to double play right here. And a base hit could tie the ball game, and Hatcher's giving about 35, well, maybe 50 feet between himself and the shortstop.
There's really not that much need to guard the lines now. You want to cut off the tying run. Garvey's on the line at first.
Little fly ball in the left field, and it is handled by Dusty Baker. 2 down. Now, here's the big guy for the Giants. If they have any superstar on the horizon, it's this guy right here, Jack Clark. And the enthusiasm of the Giant fans is swelling now as Clark carries that lumber to the plate with a chance to knock the Dodgers out of it for a while. Hitting .284, 22 homers, 82 runs batted in. Coming off a broken hand. 1 for 2 tonight. Boy, you can watch this guy take batting practice, stand behind the cage, and just see thunder in that bat. He is so quick with his hands.
Dodgers are still on the lines at third and first, and there's a lot of room between third and short and second and first for Clark to hit through.
A single could tie it. Extra base hit might win it. Low, ball 1. Dave Goltz on the mound for the Dodgers. He has started 25 games, has pitched only 2 complete games this year. There's where the defense is playing. We mentioned Hatcher. Look how close he is and how much room between him and the shortstop. Boy, they're playing percentage one way and against it the other way. Swinging strike, and Clark had a rip, didn't he? Goltz came running in because his catcher Ferguson didn't see that ball. Castillo, the right-hander, Howe, the left-hander.
The interesting thing about that is that Valenzuela is not warming up, which means the Dodgers may be thinking of starting him Saturday. It's because of the injury to Bob Welch.
It could be that the Dodgers would start a 19-year-old kid. He's the one sitting right there on the bench behind the pitchers warming up with the blue jacket on. Played at Albuquerque this year. And he has come into 7 games for the Dodgers and has not allowed a run. And they're calling, Ferguson is calling Lasorda out for some reason. Ferguson may have gotten hurt.
Either that or Goltz got hurt.
What it is, but Ferguson asked the umpire for permission for Lasorda to come out. They're going to bring in another pitcher.
And that's something. Goltz hurt himself.
Something happened to him.
I can't believe he suddenly ran out of gas. He must have hurt himself throwing that last pitch.
Well, I tell you, there are some pitchers in Baseball West, there's no way in the world they'd hurt themselves bad enough to come out of a game right here.
Well, I know what you're saying, and all I can tell you is that the game's changed. I don't want to sit here and badmouth today's players. I see things I can't believe either, Monty. I really do. But, I mean, it just amazes me that you can get hurt or come out in a situation like this. Like you say, the old-time pitchers, they want that ball. There's no way you're going to get them out of there. You'd have to drag them off the field in a spot like this.
So it's going to be Bobo. They call him Bobo. His name is Bobby Robert Roberto Castillo. And, Wes, this little guy has had some kind of year for the Dodgers.
Well, he's been phenomenal. He's won his last 5 ball games for starters, and of course he's a popular player in Los Angeles because he's Mexican heritage, and there are a lot of Mexican Americans down there, and the Dodgers figured he would be an outstanding drawing card for starters. Then it turns out he's an outstanding pitcher. He's just done a superb job for them. He features a screwball. He's got a tremendous screwball, and he taught it to Valenzuela, who I guess we will not see tonight, but who has gone 11 and two-thirds innings out here, coming straight from Double-A ball, and has not given up a run in the major leagues yet. Castillo teaching Valenzuela how to throw the screwball, and he throws a very good one himself.
Wes, this guy, to give you an idea, some measurements of pitchers is how many hits per innings pitched has he given up. Castillo has pitched 93 innings, allowed only 66 hits. And anything around a hit an inning is considered pretty good. And numerically, there's the situation which he inherits. And there are the umpires.
Here's Venable at first. You know, this will not be an easy situation for either Castillo or for Clark. Anytime you have a new pitcher coming in with a count already on the hitter, it's a little bit difficult for both of them to get right into the action. Clark's going to have to adjust his eyes to a different type of pitch coming up there.
Yeah, this guy will throw a screwball against a right-hander. He and Valenzuela will throw the screwball against a right-handed hitter or a left-handed hitter. It doesn't really matter. They just use it as an off-speed pitch. Boy, how many staffs can you remember ever having 2 screwball pitchers?
Now, there's Valenzuela right now warming up.
34.
The left-hander, 34.
All right, Jack Clark at the plate with a count of 1-1. They're guarding the lines, the Dodgers are. They're leading by 1. We're in the last half of the 8th inning. Houston has 1 tonight. So the worst they could come out with is a tie unless the Dodgers win here tonight and sweep 3. Screwball hung high. Man, he missed that one a mile.
Actually, that screwball is not as effective against a right-handed hitter because it's breaking into him and it'll hang.
It's a little bit like a curveball from a left-hander to a right-hand batter, and you got to have a lot of confidence to throw that. There it is again, and he missed with it. 2 balls and no strikes. It's a temperamental pitch. Make it 3-1. I said 2-1. It's 3-1. He inherited a 1-1 count. Oh, it's going down to the wire. Remember, tomorrow night, the Dodgers in Houston. Right here is the second game. Montreal, Philadelphia, the first game on our USA doubleheader. Went the other way and walked him with a curveball. Castillo puts the tying runner at third, the go-ahead runner at second. Wes, even though the Dodgers have won the games in this series, they've not won them easily, except for last night's game. They did win pretty easily.
Now, the left-hand hitter, Darrell Evans, is on deck. He started to walk up to the plate, looked at the Dodger dugout, saw Lasorda walking out, and Evans went back to swing the bat. Now, it's going to be Howe or Valenzuela, one or the other, and they're both tough, both young kids, but have done an extremely fine job for the Dodgers this year.
We'll tell you about Howe in a minute. They're going to bring him in. Now, here's another youngster right off the campus of college almost to accumulate 17 saves for the Dodgers, and no other pitcher has more than 7.
And that's Stanhouse.
Right, who's been hurt a lot this year.
Now, the interesting stat on Howe, he's only given up 1 home run all year long in 80 innings. Now, that's really something. But, of course, in this situation, the Giants don't need a home run. All they need is a base hit. They've got Venable on second, and he can run. So if Evans can put anything into the outfield and drop it in for a safety, the Giants will have the lead.
Wes, what is the story of how did he's such a young kid, and here he came with the Dodgers early. Did he just impress them that much in spring training? Well, of course, they were hurting with Terry Forster and Stanhouse hurting, but, man, this kid has taken over. And for a short relief man to come in at this young age, it's almost incredible.
I really can't tell you, but Valenzuela's done the same thing. I think what you have to understand about the Dodgers, especially their minor league system, Monty, is that this year they had 5 minor league clubs. 4 of them won championships or were in the playoffs for the championship. So the players become used to the pressure right off the bat. Even their first year in the minor leagues, they're in pressure situations around winning ball clubs. When they come up to the majors, it's really no different than what they faced in the minors, except there's more attention put on them. And it's amazing how quickly they seem to mature. They come up here, and the expectation is that they can do the job, and they just fulfill the expectations. It's really been something, the way the Dodgers have had so many good young ball players come out of their minor league system year after year after year.
Howe has not done it with any kind of trick pitches. He just throws the ball hard, and he's had a good breaking ball and has been able to keep it down. He's won 6, lost 9, 2.78 earned run average. He has been in 56 games. Now, Castillo's been in 58. Howe has pitched 80 innings, Castillo 93. Howe in 80 innings has given up 79 hits, so there's that hit per inning thing that we talked about a little while ago. But he's had good control. He's walked 22. He's not a big strikeout man, though he can blow it by you. He's struck out 37.
Right. He's sneaky fast, and he has an outstanding slider. That's his best pitch.
All right. You're going to see the Giants go with Darrell Evans, left-handed hitter against left-handed pitcher. And the Dodgers, Howe's ready to go. Bases loaded. 2-1, Dodgers lead off the full windup. Misses, ball 1. Stanhouse walked in a tying run in a game against San Diego last Sunday out of the bullpen. I don't think he's pitched since. Little looper. Thomas going back. Can't get it. Base hit. 2-run score.
Boy, is Evans happy.
He hit one right off the fist over the infield. Jay Johnstone is just looking in. He walks over, picks up the glove out there. And the Giant fans are going wild.
He got jammed, but he dumped one in there. You know who almost made a super play was Gerald Thomas, the Dodgers second baseman. He has played center field, and he acted like a center fielder on that ball. He went about 80 feet out there and almost caught it. Look how far out he is there. Well, he missed it by a few feet, but he sure hustled a long way.
Johnstone was playing so deep. Now we're going to have a pinch hitter. Larry Herndon comes on the pinch hit for Terry Whitfield. So Dave Bristol made a great move tonight, bringing in Menton. He got the job done. He let his left-handed hitting third baseman Evans hit, and he did a job, and now he's pinch hitting for Whitfield, who's been his hottest hitter.
Monty, just for a second, what does this mean if the Dodgers lose this game? It just means that they will have to sweep Houston 4 straight games instead of 3. They'll have to go into the playoffs and beat them in a playoff game Monday if they want to win the pennant, should they lose tonight.
Larry Herndon, batting .257 with 8 home runs for the year. Good cut. Well, Howe really did his job. He hit that batter right on the fist, but Evans was strong enough to get it over the infield. Herndon down in a hurry. So that is all she wrote for the Giants in the 8th. It might be enough. The Dodgers have Ferguson, Hatcher, and Johnstone due to bat. We go to the top of the 9th inning. The Giants lead 3-2. Let's pause for this word. You're watching Thursday Night Major League Baseball on the USA Network. We have some Giant changes now. We have Johnny LeMaster at shortstop now for the Giants. Jimmy Wolford is in left field, and Billy North is in center. The rest of the lineup is the same.
Milt May goes in to catch. Al Holland is now pitching for the Giants. Little left-hander. Let's check the line on Holland.
Now they say the reason that the pitcher Gholtz left the ball game was he had a cramp in the calf of his right leg.
Well, he looked like he was injured. Holland is 5-3. He's got a 1.78 ERA, so he's been tough this year. He's given up, let's see how many home runs. That's always an important stat. Only 2 home runs in 81 innings, so he is doggone near as good as Howe.
Well, it's going to be Joe Ferguson leading it off. He had a big home run here for the Dodgers the first night in this series. The Dodgers are behind by 1, but they've been behind 25 times this year in games they've come back to win.
They've also won 22 games in their final at bat, and they've had 35 come from behind victories, and they certainly did it Tuesday night to the Giants. Now the Giants are guarding the line. Darrell Evans is right on the line at third. Over at first, Rich Murray on the first base line.
There's a drive hit in the deep center field. Billy North appears to have it gauged, and he's right there. He's got it. Ferguson gave it a shot. The first pitch, Holland threw. 1 down in the 9th inning, and they're leaping in the aisles of an airplane headed from Houston to L.A.
You bet they are.
Here's Mickey Hatcher now. Manny Mota is on deck. He'll be a pinch hitter. And there is Manny Mota. He had a big hit in a big game for the Dodgers recently.
Isn't this something, Monty? Now the Dodgers go back to L.A. We'll see the game tomorrow night right here on this network. Should the Dodgers beat Houston 3 straight, they would then have to play again Monday and beat them 4 straight.
Boy, and how many times have Houston lost 4 straight games this year with that pitching staff? Broken bat, slash foul ball, and Hatcher got one sawed off in his hands, believe me. There's the other part of it.
It is very hard to sit here after seeing all the injuries the Dodgers have had and to concede that they could possibly beat Houston 4 straight. That is really asking a lot. Houston with that outstanding pitching staff, a lot of momentum going for them, a lot of desire, good, young, hustling ball club.
The Dodgers have 2 of their regulars out tonight. Ron Cey with a pulled hamstring muscle and Davey Lopes.
And that's in addition to the 2 that they've lost for the season.
Right.
Russell and Smith.
So the Dodgers did have a very powerful-looking baseball team. But injuries are a part of the game, as what you've got down on the bench that counts. Here's Mickey Hatcher. We've seen him hit a big home run this year. It's high for ball 1.
You want to hear a great comment? Ray Knight of the Cincinnati Reds about a week ago, speaking of the Dodgers in Houston, he said the Dodgers beat you with talent. Houston beats you with heart.
Tell you got to have heart to play for Billy Burton. Hatcher slices another one off. He's not getting around on Holland right now.
He wasn't getting around on Vida Blue. He hasn't hit a ball left to second base all night.
Boy, he hit a home run at Dodger Stadium recently in a game we did. It went out there like a rocket. I think that was last Thursday night.
It was.
Graduate of the University of Oklahoma. Holland trying to nail down a victory for Greg Minton. Came in pitched to only 2 batters. Vida Blue gets a pat on the back and thank you for working his 7 innings. High bouncing ball. That's going to be a tough play.
Oh, super. That's one of those plays where if you lay back to get the big hop, then it's too late to throw the runner out at first. So you're in a do-or-die situation. Had to charge it. He's got to come up with the ball, and he does. Takes his time and makes a good, accurate throw.
Baseball's all-time leading pinch hitter in the history of the game. Since Abner Doubleday laid it out, no pinch hitter has had more hits as a pinch hitter than this man right here. Just activated recently by the Dodgers for the September drive.
Well, he's a threat to get a hit, but not to hit a home run. And that's all the Giants are really concerned about right now.
That's ball 1.
Holland, incidentally, came over with Ed Whitson from the Pirates in that trade for Billy Madlock. And he's got good stuff. He's only 5'11", but he's a 200-pounder, and he's solid. Monty, he throws hard.
Rather rotund, almost.
Might say that.
Mota fouls it off.
Mota retired at the end of last year, became the Dodger batting coach this year, started working out in August, and was activated September 1st. He's had one hit as a pinch hitter. I believe he's 1 for 5.
1 ball, 1 strike count. 2 down in the ninth. Mota slaps that ball to right field. I tell you, he uses the whole field.
Now watch, we're going to have a pinch runner, I'm sure, probably for Cotty. Let's see who the Dodgers use, but they're going to get some speed demon in there for Mota, that's for sure. Man, he's a great opposite field hitter. Boy, does he go with that pitch. And again, Monty, we've mentioned so many times that first baseman Rich Murray was guarding the line. If he'd been playing his normal position, he would have had that ball.
We've got pinch runner Gary Weiss. Weiss running for Mota. Mota with the magic wand. He gives him a little hope down there in the Dodger dugout. And now they need a long one, and they've got Steve Yeager hitting for the pitcher. Boy, in the last week, we have seen some teams pull out some big wins. Philadelphia's had to come from behind twice in a long extra inning game against the Cubs to win. Montreal pulled a couple of games out. The good teams, the pennant-winning teams, have to do that. The Dodgers are down to their last out.
And listen to this, Monty. Yeager's only hitting .209. He only has 2 home runs and 20 RBIs, but he's an outstanding fastball hitter, and that might be one of the reasons why he's in there now. In addition to the fact that Tom Lasorda doesn't have too many options with all those injuries. But Yeager does have home run power, and he is a good fastball hitter, and that's what Holland seems to be throwing.
They're bunching him in the outfield, giving him a lot of room down each line. Did he go around or not? First base umpire will have to make the decision.
He already called it. He didn't even go to him. Home plate umpire already called it a strike.
No, it is no balls, 2 strikes.
Now how about a curve? I'll guarantee if he throws him a curve right now for a strike, it's over.
Yeager's definitely in a crippled position. The fans are standing and yelling here at Candlestick. He's threw it right by him, and the Giants win a big one. A big one for Houston, not too big for the Giants, but the Giant fans love it any time they beat the Dodgers. Boy, they're celebrating out there right now. So Houston has only got to win 1 game, and it could be tomorrow night right here on the USA Network that would give them the National League East Championship. That's the end of the ball game with the final score 3-2 Giants. We'll be back with a wrap-up in just a moment.
What a candy.
You think Catfish Hunter would have gone out with a muscle spasm? He wouldn't have gone out with a muscle spasm right in his arms.
Right. They would have had to shoot him. If the Dodgers don't let this game beat them mentally, they still have a chance because they knew even had they won this game tonight, they would have had to go to L.A. and sweep 3 straight. All that's happened is now they have to go L.A. and sweep 4 in a row from Houston. That's not an easy task, but it's something that the Dodgers are capable of doing if they don't get down and don't let this game demoralize them.
Line score, 3 runs, 8 hits, 2 errors for the Giants, 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors for the Dodgers. Menton, the winning pitcher, for facing 2 batters. Vita Blue, 7 1/3, great innings. Holland gets a save. The loser is Dave Gholtz, who works 7 2/3 innings. Final score again, the Giants 3, the Dodgers 2. We'll be back with some final words after we pause for this message from your local station. Well, Wes Parker, you said the Dodgers now have to win 4 straight. I tell you, the way that they've got to look at it, though, is they've got to win 1 straight. They've got to win tomorrow night.
Well,
and that's the way they've got to go out there every day. And if they look at it as 4 straight beating Houston Houston, that's monumental.
Yeah, that's what they mean when they say we've got to take it one at a time. They've got Don Sutton going tomorrow. He's probably their best pitcher. We'll be doing the ball game, and we certainly hope you'll be watching. It's going to be a super game. You may see a pennant clinch, and I would imagine that a lot of you people out there have never actually seen that happen. It could be very exciting. I really don't think the Dodgers can do it at this point, but it's going to be very interesting to see just what happens in that game tomorrow.
If nothing else happened, I am so thrilled that the pennant is going to be decided by the teams facing each other who are the closest to each other in both the East and West tomorrow night, and you'll see it here on the USA.
Once again, the final score is Los Angeles 2 and San Francisco 3. Tonight's game has been brought to you by Lowenbrau. When you want the taste of a truly great beer, there's really only one. Tonight, let it be Lowenbrau.
A reminder again, fans, that we'll be repeating the first game of our doubleheader immediately following, so stay tuned now for Chicago at Philadelphia coming right up. Now, this is Monty Moore for Wes Parker saying, so long, everybody. Thanks a million for watching from Candlestick Park in San Francisco, California. Facilities for tonight's game provided by the Hughes Television Network. This has been a USA Network sports presentation.
The preceding program was a presentation of the USA Network.